Hello and welcome everybody to my new show, Friday PM. It used to be Friday Night Matters. We are now currently Friday PM. I'm excited about that. Our first guest here tonight is a gentleman by the name of John Duncan. He's an author. He has written a very, very cool book. I love this book. It is called Take It Easy, Portland in the 70s. It's a photo book all about his life in the 70s, and he was a street photographer. I mean, it's phenomenal stuff. It's by Islandport Press. That's correct.
Correct. Yep.
Yep. And it's going to be out. I think right now.
Well, it's out. Yeah. It's out.
Very cool. Yeah, and it's got a lot of photos. We're going to talk a little bit about his life. We're going to see some of the photos. We're going to kind of go all in depth about it. So I hope you stick with us. It's going to be a lot of fun. So nice to meet you, John.
You too.
Yeah, it's great to see you again. We've talked a few times. So,
we've spent some time together.
Yeah, exactly. So. Let's just jump in. Tell me a little about your early life. Before you got into photography, growing up, you grew up here in Portland?
I grew up in Falmouth.
Falmouth, okay, yeah.
I was adopted as a only child adopted in Portland. I grew up in Falmouth.
Yep.
And went to Falmouth High School, graduated in '69.
Okay.
And then when I was around 22 years old, early 70s, I found out that if you were born before 1954, and I was born in '51, there was open records for adoptions. So I went into the Cumberland County Courthouse, pulled out a card catalog thing, found my reference to my birth mother, called her up on the phone. I said, "Hi, my name's John Duncan. You're supposed to be my mom." And she said, "Oh, I wonder when you'd call."
That's crazy.
So, and then I just basically walked over to number 32 Hampshire Street, was where she was living, which was just over the other side of Franklin Street. And we met.
Okay.
And had a chat, talked, learned about that I had a full brother and a full sister, but the brother did grow up with her. The sister was also adopted. And then I did track her down, down in Lynn, Massachusetts. And my brother and I actually went together down to Lynn, or to where she was working down there. And she was working in an office with some other secretaries or people, young women typing on typewriters, I remember, and we were going to have lunch. And we walked up to this doorway, which was one of those, like, Captain Kangaroo doors, the split door, or whatever you want to call it. And we're looking at these women, all sitting, and then the bell goes off, or whatever, it's lunchtime, they all stand up. And I just remember very specifically that when she stood up, I mean, we knew. There was
knew right away.
We were the three that were actually the same mother and father. And then the rest of us were, my mother had her family, my father had his family, and then, so I have a bunch of half-siblings too.
Half-siblings.
Yeah.
And you said that you were, high school, you were a runner?
Right. In high school, my junior year, I think it was, I was running in gym class.
One record.
And I was always beating everybody, so the coach asked me if I'd want to run in track.
Okay.
And I did, and state record for the mile, ended up, and second in cross country 1 year, and yeah, I had a pretty successful track career for 2 years.
But at that same time, you were also getting into photography and started learning about that. I think you said you took some classes.
I mean, middle school was when, I was in a camera club, and we had a dark room in like a janitor closet.
Right.
That's where I learned, kind of, my dad gave me a 620 camera, which was a large kind of film they had then on these cameras. And I learned, developing and all that. But then there were periods, like high school, I didn't have a camera because I don't have any pictures from that. So.
And this, just for the viewers, this was before digital, when you actually had to go into a janitor's closet. It was a dark room, and you had to really develop. You didn't know what the photos were going to look like.
Right.
Very different times.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, but that sense of anticipation doesn't really exist with digital. And this is something I've learned now because I'm doing film again a little bit. And digital is kind of like instant gratification. You see the pictures right off the bat.
Right.
With film, it's not instant gratification. It's much more sensual. And it's sensual in the sense of, you have to unroll the film, you have to go in the dark, you have to wind it on a reel, you have to, pour in chemicals and hold it up and see, it's just more physical.
Physical.
Yeah.
So at that time, you got out of high school, you got into kind of the Woodstock phase.
Right.
And then that was, where we're going to touch on right after we're going to see a few of these photos. They're really astounding. We happen to be super lucky. We've got the music of Sean Menure, who we're going to be seeing a little later on. playing one of his original songs. This is a song, I think it's called Mint Julep. It's an instrumental. So while we see these, we'll come back, we'll talk a little more about the brown acid, and we'll talk some more then. Thanks. Hi, welcome back. Thanks a lot for staying with us. That was music of Sean Menure. We're going to be seeing a little bit more of Sean Menure later on in the program, playing an original song of his, and I'm hopefully going to get a chance to talk to him a little bit. So that'll be great. But where we did leave off, we were talking about the brown acid. So we were talking about, you know, at that point in your life, you had went to Woodstock. And this is kind of when these photos started, around that whole time.
Yeah, sort of, as you know, I mean, 3 of my friends, we just heard about it, went up there. I think it was Thursday. It was a last-minute thing. I bought a ticket. Right. I think it was $25. Drove over there, got within, I don't know, we got pretty close, actually, and dumped the car on the side of the road like everybody did, if you've seen the film footage of that. And, yeah, there we were, Friday. And then it was Saturday, and I took the brown acid, but I took it too late for that announcement that said, you know, don't take the brown acid. So that was a whole, I didn't really, I was in a whole different, you know, completely cut off from like seeing what I, you know, yeah. Right. And the only music I distinctly remember, you know, from the whole experience was Creedence Clearwater Revival playing a bootleg. Right. When I broke out into the field from the woods and laid down, and the ground turned into a bed of nails, like an Indian nail bed. And I remember, yeah, it didn't. It was pretty heavy duty, but I survived.
Right. It was a bad trip.
I survived.
And then you got back to Portland. I know you said that you were in Portland on and off, but the times you were in Portland, you were driving a taxi. We saw
drove cab, and then you know, I was working on the boats, on Casco Bay boats.
Okay.
And then I went, you know, in '71-2, I went for a year to college in Nebraska.
Okay.
And spent a year there. That was the year that Jesus Christ Superstar came out.
Right.
Because it was really big in that day.
Okay.
And so I was over there for a year. That was my only year of college. I decided I was going to take psychology. Actually wrote a paper when I was there because I was taking abnormal psych, and I wrote a paper about the acid trip and how I thought it had something to do with my wanting to, find my individuality and not be lost in the mass. And I got an A+, so that was cool.
Kind of the experience.
Yeah, and then back here, and then of course I had a low draft number.
Okay.
125.
Yep.
So
now, is low is bad or low is good?
Low is bad.
Low is bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
High number, and you have less of a chance of getting called.
Getting called up.
So when I was here working on the boats, and when I was in school, I had met a woman. She was 4 years older than me. She was a senior. I was a freshman. She was kind of my first real experience with a woman, and we lived together. And then I was here working, and she wrote me a Dear John letter. Well, she wrote me a letter saying, "Oh, I miss you, I miss you." So I beelined out there to Cheyenne, Wyoming.
Okay.
Got to Cheyenne, I knocked on the door, and she said, "What the F are you doing here?"
Right.
And I ended up, enlisting because I had to decide Canada, and I decided, well, I'll go in the Air Force. That would be less, it wouldn't be on the ground.
Okay. Yeah.
And so went in there in Cheyenne, to the recruitment office, joined, went to Denver, rode a bus with a bunch of other people down to Texas, to the base there where they do the Air Force in San Antonio.
Okay.
And 8 weeks there. Then I was stationed, I went to Champaign, Illinois, and then I was stationed in upstate New York at Utica, Rome. But I was so out of my element.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a VW bus.
Right.
And here I am on this base. They're flying B-52s out, going to Thailand and flying their missions, dropping bombs. I suddenly realized that this is worse than even being on the ground. I was coming home here every weekend to Eddie's Shamrock Cafe, which was down at the corner of India Street and Commercial.
Okay.
And all my friends were hanging there, all my high school friends. And so I was doing that back and forth. Eventually, after 9 months in, they were having a big drill. I said, I can't do this anymore. Everybody was running down, doing whatever they're going to do. I stayed in the barracks, and he called me up and said, "John Duncan, what are you doing? What are you doing?" We had a fight on the phone, then I drove over, had a fight in the office. I mean, back and forth, he's pounding his fist on the table saying, "Don't you know it's God's plan to save the world from communism?" And I said, "I know, you're all freaking crazy."
Right.
So I went out of there, flapping my arms, jumped in my bus, started driving. The MPs pulled me over, said, "We got orders to escort you to the hospital for a urine test." So I went to the urine test, went out to the hospital. The orderly comes in with me. I got the cup, getting ready to do my thing in the cup. He nudges me, and I swear to God, he nudges me and says, "Hey man, you want me to pee for you?" So that was it. And then I went to a shrink there, and they classified me passive dependent character disorder, unadaptable for military service. I got an honorable discharge.
Discharge.
Honorable discharge.
Honorable discharge. And so this is.
I was ready to go to jail.
Yeah.
I mean, I was prepared to
or
do
Canada
it, or whatever.
So at this time, this was when you were. But you started taking photos at that time, or you were?
I don't have photos from then. I didn't. I don't think.
But
it was pretty much. Yeah, pretty much after that. There was some before, I think, some after. But I bought my first camera at Photoshop, so it's almost across from where we are.
Is that still there? That one on 4th
Yeah,
Avenue?
the storefront is still there.
Yeah.
They changed the name a little bit, but part of the sign is still there.
Were you developing your own photos?
Yes,
at the time?
I developed my own negatives and prints.
Well, I was going to ask you about, because I definitely want to ask you about your trip to China, where we're going to show some photos of that.
My wife is about 4 months pregnant with Joel, our first son.
Right.
So we took the Trans-Siberian Railroad across the Soviet Union, stopped in Leningrad, Moscow, through Mongolia, down to Beijing, spent 2 weeks in China, went from Beijing over to Xi'an, where they had those clay soldiers, the ones that were on exhibit in the U.S. back then, those big clay soldiers that were baked underground as a major kind of tourist thing now. And then we went down to Guangzhou or Canton or Hong Kong, whichever you want to call it, and flew back home. And so during that 2-week period, I was shooting a lot of, black and white film, photography. And then, now when I look back at that, it's a China that just doesn't exist anymore.
Right, exactly.
I mean, Tiananmen Square is just bicycles, a few cars. Now it's all cars and not as many bicycles.
Right.
I realize that these are kind of historical documentation of it.
We had some photos that we're going to show about Florence, Italy.
Right. When I
Yeah.
was in Florence, I took a lot of photos at that time.
Right.
When I was there with Suzanne before I left for Sweden. We were there for a month together.
Right.
Before we came back up to Sweden.
So, yeah.
It's a book signing and release party that's going to be up at St. Lawrence Arts on Congress Street on this coming Monday, the 8th, between 5:30 and 7:30. And it'll be, if you go online to St. Lawrence Arts, it's going to say sold out. There's like a registration thing. It's free. Yeah. But I was told today by Deidre, who is the kind of boss up there somewhat, she said, as long as people have masks and are vaccinated, just come and it'll all, you know.
Kind of first come, first serve, yeah.
Yeah,
And you can
I mean,
get
some
in.
people that have registered, they'll probably be coming in.
Well, I'm going to be
it'll
there.
work out.
Yeah, I'll be there filming it. It's going to be a great time. This book is awesome. It's Take It Easy, Portland in 1970s. Let's see if my camera is on here.
And we have two signings.
Two signings, and those are where at those?
So we've got two signings. I'm going to grab my note.
Yep.
The first one will be November 20th at the Book Review in Falmouth.
Falmouth, yeah.
From 1 to 2:30. And the second one will be December 11th at Sherman's Books on Exchange Street, 12 to 3.
Yeah, great bookstores, great bookstores.
Yeah.
And again, it's with Islandport
Press.
Islandport Press.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, John.
Oh,
for your
thank you.
time.
Yeah,
it was great talking to you.
Great.
And it was great meeting you these past couple of days.
Yeah.
Let's stay in touch.
Sure.
But right now, we're going to go down to Acadia Recording Studios. We're going to listen to another original song by musician Sean Menure. It's called When Our Paths Crossed. It's a great tune. And hopefully, if we have some time, we're going to talk to him a little bit as well.
I got you on my mind. True love is hard to find. Lonesome and lost, then our paths crossed. You're so sweet and kind. Got you on my mind. I got you in my sight. Now I see some light. The rain has stopped. Sky is sunny and blue. Tomorrow looks bright. I got you in my sight. Alone ain't gonna get it. We might as well forget it. Say goodbye and watch love leave. But together we'll get through it. You and I can do it. Take my hand, have faith, believe. I got you in my heart. That's the place to start. Side by side, hand in hand, 2 by 2. We will never part. I got you in my heart. Alone ain't gonna get it. We might as well forget it. Say goodbye and watch love leave. But together we'll get through it. You and I can do it. Hold my hand, have faith, believe. I got you in my heart. That's the place to start. Side by side, hand in hand, 2 by 2. so sweet and kind. I got you on my mind.
Here we are with musician Sean Menure. Sean has a new CD right now.
Yeah.
We're taking a look at it. Hey, good to see you, Sean.
Thank you very much for
thank you.
having me on. Thank you, Luigi.
Sure, sure.
Grazie, Luigi.
Thank you. Thank you. What was the name of the CD? Can you tell me a little about it?
The CD's name is just simply put, Sean Menure Plays Guitar.
Okay.
And that's it.
Right,
and it's
right.
basically 14 songs recorded with this guitar at this studio, Acadia Recording Company here.
Oh.
Yeah, so.
Oh, you did record it here?
Oh yeah,
yeah, okay.
Definitely.
So we're at the Acadia Recording Studio. We're probably going to take a few photos of it as part of the show, maybe at the end of the show. It's a great recording studio.
Absolutely. Todd Hutchinson and the crew are awesome.
Yeah, thanks. Shout out to them. Thank you guys. How many days did it take to record that here altogether?
Well, not too many. What we did basically was I would schedule it, an old-fashioned recording session, interestingly enough, is 3 hours. Your goal is 4 songs.
Okay.
So that's kind of the way we approached it. We did a couple of more because I did a couple of things twice or so, but so about 3 or 4 days, I think it was. Okay. But I'd spread it out when work and gigs and life would allow, and I could schedule it here. Sure. So I would schedule a session and try to knock out 4 songs at a time.
Okay, great. And was this with the band, or were you?
No, completely solo
album. Wow.
Yeah, just doing what I just did.
Right, right.
And interestingly enough, the photo is actually that guitar with this mic, and this mic is from Al Hawks's event recording studio that was out Route 302, which is another, we should discuss that. Yep. This photo, this guitar was actually given to me by Gretsch Guitars as an endorsement, and Bettina took this photo out in Monument Valley. We were on a cross-country musical tour, if you will, and we had a night off, and we're in Monument Valley where John Wayne filmed all his Westerns with John Ford.
With John Ford, who's a Portland guy. Right. So just for me or for the audience, where Monument Valley, is that like Arizona, New Mexico? Interesting
you should ask. Yeah, it's right on the Arizona-Utah border. Okay. It's in the Navajo Nation, which kind of goes over state lines, right near Four Corners. Okay. But it's to the west of Four Corners. Okay,
very cool, very cool. And would you consider your music to be, like, as a guy who doesn't know a ton about, like, honky-tonk, is that?
Yeah, absolutely. There's definitely elements of honky-tonk music. There's elements of all sorts of different genres in it. I mean, I love jazz, I love blues, I love country and western, I love bluegrass. I mean, honky-tonk, ragtime, all of it. Some of my favorite guitarists are like Merle Travis and Chet Atkins, Lenny Breau from Maine, Tommy Emmanuel, people like that.
Oh, okay, yeah. And are you from Maine originally?
No, I was born in Washington, D.C.
Washington, D.C.
And I lived in the state of Texas. Okay. And then I moved to Maine.
That's where you have a little bit of the Texas thing going, right?
I love Texas. Right. I love Maine.
Love Maine,
I love the United States.
Exactly, exactly. Are you a multi-instrumental guy? Do you play a lot of instruments too?
That's so nice of you to ask. I really focus on the guitar. I can play a little bit of bass, but I wouldn't say I'm a bass player. Right. I kind of know a few chords on piano, but guitar's my love. I love the guitar and I love the sound of it.
Right, right. So yeah, and you virtuoso with that. Like I remember.
You're very kind.
Well, there's guys like Prince and things that they will record all their own album themselves. But you like the vocals and the guitar, and not as much doing all of the.
I've done songs like that before. Okay. Yeah. I actually have done some recording like that, and I like to do that, and I know enough to get by. But I prefer just to do like I just did. Like here's my guitar, I'll play you a song.
Yep. So I'm always curious as to where was the wildest gig that you ever played? Was there any place that was completely?
Let's see, the wildest gig.
The most interesting.
Oh, probably maybe Scandinavia, Sweden or Finland.
I could see them enjoying it. Yeah,
absolutely. Right. There's a huge American roots and rockabilly community, and they really embrace it and have festivals and parties and gigs. Some of the most highlight high upper echelon gigs I've ever played would be when I got to accompany Ronnie Dawson at Carnegie Hall.
At Carnegie Hall.
Yeah, and we also did, and you can find this actually on YouTube if you look up Ronnie Dawson on Conan. And that was an amazing event when we were on Conan O'Brien.
You were on Conan O'Brien.
Yeah, I played lead on that, and it was with a rockabilly trio I'm affiliated with called High Noon. So.
And he's very, you know, because he's a guitarist himself.
Ronnie, yeah, he's passed with us.
Conan is. Also, yeah, and
Conan
he's really into all of that kind of music.
He and his guitarist, I think it was Jimmy Vivino at that point, came up afterwards, and we were all talking about guitars.
Right.
I remember I had this Gibson ES 350 I was playing, and we were talking about it.
And was that his NBC show, or was that
New York?
Conan O'Brien show?
Yes.
Yeah, in New York.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, before he moved to LA.
Precisely.
Wow, yeah, and definitely you guys should look that up on YouTube.
Ronnie Dawson on Conan. It's a fun clip.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. It's been a pleasure. Thank you,
Luigi.
Luigi.
Great talking to you, and it was great songs. Thank you very much. And that was Sean Menure playing an original song, When Our Paths Crossed, at Acadia Recording Studio. I really want to thank Acadia for helping us out with that. I really want to thank Sean for helping us out, and I really want to thank John Duncan for helping us out. It was a great show. I had a good time. Looking forward to next week. So thank you very much, everybody, and have a great weekend. Thanks.